Welcome to Ngosti Talk Shows. Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Challenges we have had to overcome in 2020.
Find your own voice.
The world has become united by the unseen, knowing there are no guarantees for tomorrow.
Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Let the world hear your voice and be filled within.
For the day has come for you to be a great leader.
The time has come to break away from the pain, distraction, experience the unthinkable.
Wow, there are no guarantees for tomorrow. Thank you very much. Over to you, Kamal. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Thank you, Nomsa, and welcome everybody watching us or that are coming to watch us later on. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you. My name is Kamal Amer. I am an NLP trainer, master practitioner, hypnotherapist, and I am a certified life purpose specialist. And what I do is I find joy and pleasure in helping people uncover their purposes in life by using ancient Egyptian methodology as well as NLP. And we bring all that together into this modern world to help you live a life filled with purpose, with satisfaction, and a fulfilling life.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kamal. Over to you, Mohammed. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Thank you, Nomsa, and thank you, Kamal, and thank you everyone watching or will watch us or will see the recording later. My name is Mohammed Khair. I'm a life and mindset coach, and I'm an engineer as well and a public speaker. What I do exactly is I help people tap into their unlimited potential and find their purpose in life so they can attain a greater fulfillment using different tools, coaching tools, and self-development tools as well. So that's what I do, and I'm happy to be here again.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mohammed. So our topic today is how failure and hurdles shape you. So Mohammed, why this topic? Please explain to our audience. You chose this topic. I'm curious to find out what's the story behind the topic.
Okay, thank you, Namsa. I think the reason I have chosen this topic is we will face hurdles and failure in our life, whether we like it or not. So sooner or later, or maybe you have met or faced some struggles or failure. And this is part of life. This is part of the journey as well. So either you are a student, you work, you have family, you will face things that are hard for you, things that sometimes will break you down, as we can say. But I always say they will break you down so they can build you up greater than before. And unfortunately, in school or when we study, no one taught us how to feel or how to deal with failure and struggles. So we need people to direct us, and those people can be speakers, can be coaches, can be consultants. So failures are part of life. It's a part of success, but we have to know how to deal with failure, how to deal when we are faced with challenges or something that is difficult for us. So I think, and especially in times like this, we all know that the pandemic and everything, people are faced with challenges, and some failed at things, they lost their job or have different issues. So I think we have always to talk about failure and how to deal with failure. So that's why maybe I have chosen this topic.
So much. Thank you so much. I agree with you. Basically, we all go through challenges in life. Everyone else has faced failure. So before I talk, I'm gonna let Kamal. So Kamal, I know there is a story behind this topic in your own life as well. Please let it all out to our audience.
Thank you, Mohammed, for that simple and very straightforward explanation. I do agree on most of it. I only disagree on one perspective, which is there is no failure. You just find out new ways or different ways to get outcomes that you didn't want. Because if you remember, I use this acronym. FAIL is first attempt in learning, right? The other main story about failure, if we're going to use that term just for semantic reasons, I'm always reminded by the story of Thomas Edison and the creation of the light bulb. And he was asked by a reporter that how did it feel to fail 1,000 times before he managed to create that light bulb? And Edison's answer was very simple. He said, I didn't fail 1,000 times. I found 1,000 different ways of not making a light bulb, or I found 1,000 steps to reach that outcome of creating the light bulb. And if we have that in mind, if we think of it this way, we'll realize that every step that we take in our life is a step closer to reaching our outcome or the goal that we want. So that's my opinion about this subject, and I absolutely love it because I do agree that I have several stories in my life, but without them, I wouldn't be here today.
So much. Thank you so much, Kamal. I agree with the both of you actually. Basically, failure is a learning. It's a learning journey. When you fail, it's up to you how you respond to that failure. I went to. I was at uni, was it 2 years ago, and I basically overstudied. I stayed up all night. Doing my assignment, memorizing it by heart. When I walked into the exams room, I was sick. I felt so sick. I didn't want to look at the assignment. I did not want to do anything. And guess what I did? You cannot believe it. I just sat there. I didn't make a scene. I just sat there and looked at the paper and the pen until the examiner went, everything is done. It was an hour or 2 hours. I didn't write my exams. And I just finished it off. I just felt sick, and after I finished, I just went to the toilet and vomited. I was like, and the examiner was like, what happened? I was like, I stayed all night for 3 weeks, non-stop, 3 hours, 2 hours. And when I was speaking to my tutor after, everything was coming in by heart, but when I look at the assignment, I couldn't do it. It just felt too much, and I just felt sick. But I didn't see it as a failure because they gave me the opportunity to write my exams, to rewrite my exams. But I didn't see it as a failure. But what I've learned is no overstudy. And I am not doing it again. No, don't overstudy, basically. And my tutor sat me down and said, listen, we tell you to practice your exams, but we don't tell you to stay all night and getting up early in the morning for 2 hours. We don't do that because that can affect you doing your exams. So I saw it as I didn't see it as a failure. I did my exams and I passed them. To me, it was a learning thing, and for my children, I can do that for my children as well and tell them, don't do this, because I've done it, and I know the results. When I'm talking to my kids, I know the results are real. So thank you so much, Mohammed, for actually choosing this topic. So thank you so much. So, Mohammed, how does failure affect a person?
Okay, this is a good question, but I think to determine how failure affects one person or another, we have to look at the perception. How do you perceive failure? Some people perceive failure as they will say, "Oh my God, this is the end of the world. This is it. This sucks. I'm not gonna make it or anything." Some people will, and this is the people we want to be also. They perceive failure as part of the journey, as part of success, and it's a learning mechanism also. It's a tool for you to learn and adapt and improve as well. As Kamal said, I didn't fail 1,000 times. I found 1,000 ways to not make a bulb. So that was a perception that I didn't fail, but I learned something along the way. And sometimes they say the bigger the failure, the bigger the lesson. So it's the perception. It can affect you in a positive way or in a negative way, but it's all based on how you perceive the situation you are going through. So if let's say if I fail in an exam, maybe I will say, oh, this is bad. I'm always gonna fail, or I'm not going to make it or graduate. Or I can say, hold up, let me think, what did I do wrong? How can I make it better the next time? What is this situation teaching me? So it can affect you negatively or positively, but it's all in here. How do you think about the situation? If you are going to think this is so bad, there is no way I can fix this or adjust, you're actually not going to adjust because it's all in here. And if you think the opposite, oh, now I can learn, I learned my lesson, I'm not supposed to do this, but instead I have to do this thing. So it can affect you in a good way or a bad way, but it's all in how you see it and how you perceive it.
It's very important that perception part that you're talking about, Muhammad. It's one of the crucial answers to understanding
Yes,
failure and success. It's one of the crucial aspects of that differentiate actually between people that lose everything in their life
yes,
and they're in the slum and they can't get up again, and a person that lost everything and gets up again and just perseveres and continues. So that
very
perception
true,
is crucial. Absolutely.
very true.
I agree with you, Kamal. Sometimes I always, you know what I always tell my clients? I always tell my clients that they say, I'm looking for a wealthy man. So I ask them a question. So if you are looking for a wealthy man, what are you bringing to the table? So if someone answers me, I'm happy that they know what they are bringing to the table. They are bringing themselves, and they're gonna play a very important part in that person's life. So they're gonna cheer them up, even if they are not wealthy themselves. But if someone, the mindset is not there, and also sometimes I ask them a questions, do you understand that wealth does not stay the same? What do you do when a wealthy person gets up in the morning, they lose everything? And they're like, sometimes somebody will say, I don't care, I don't mind. But people who are looking for money, who are actually gold diggers, that's where you catch them. That's how you catch them, the way they answer you. So I agree with Kamal as well, that says, life, it does not remain the same. So you have to actually be prepared. It's how you respond in that situation. And sometimes it's like we are here at Ngozi Talk Show. We are all these social media platforms. We get up in the morning, things might be a different story. So people might say, oh, it was a success overnight. We might be spotted by somebody and people start saying it was a success overnight. But guess what? Come out. How long have you been here? It's not an success overnight. Kamal has been here since it was Legacy Wealth Talk. So he has fought the battles of understanding the journey of all this talk show. But people who don't know our story, they might say, oh, it is a success overnight, until we start telling them the story, what we've been through, and the journey, how the journey has been. So it's how we respond to the situation. So how can challenges and failure lead to success? Mohammed, please.
Is it Muhammad now? I was just thinking. I'm gonna answer before Muhammad here because
Okay, go ahead.
Kamal, go ahead.
We can have a very interesting discussion here, Muhammad and I, because
Yeah,
how can it not lead to success? How can it not lead to a better outcome or changes in your life, right?
very true. I totally agree with you.
And again, we're coming back to that perception, understanding as like, you fell on the ground and you consider kids, right? You fall on the ground, you tell them, get up again. Yeah, but it hurts, so what? Get up and walk again. And then they get up and they walk again. If you apply that to every single part of your life, how can anything that happens to you be working against you? People say, oh, the world is against me, oh, God is against me, no, the universe is giving me all this rubbish to carry. No. You're reading the message completely wrong. The message is, this is a bump on the road, whatever magnitude it might be. And do you have the capability, the skills, the learning power to get over that bump? Are you capable of changing your wheels, changing the tires, changing whatever moves that directive of yours to get over that hump and start continuing that drive or that road or that direction to your success? But that's a very short answer to how can it not. And I think people that don't see that, they have a much more difficult life ahead of them because they have to work really, really hard. What do you think about that, Muhammad?
That's very true. When you are driving and you see a speed bump in front of you, you're not going to stop your vehicle and you'll say, oh no, I'm not going to continue.
Right.
So you need to go through it. That's why I'm saying when you fail, when you make mistakes, when you are facing challenges, it's part of the journey. This is a station along the way that you have to stop at. And it's going to teach you something. It's going to show you your weaknesses and how can you improve. This is the only way. I always say when you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. This is something that is telling you you are bad at this thing or you are weak at this thing. So it's highlighting your weaknesses. So it can be something that you can use for your own benefit.
Right.
As you said, Kamal, look at babies, for example, or toddlers when they are learning to walk. They keep falling on their face, but they keep trying again and again. If they don't try, they are never going to walk. The same thing. And that's why we always say, take the baby steps. You stand up, maybe you will fail. You stand up, maybe you will fail. But this is the only way, same as your heartbeats. They go up and down. Once they are on one line, you are dead. The same thing. There are up and down. Sometimes everything will go up. Sometimes suddenly it goes down. But the beauty of that is you have to keep going. You have to keep trying and you have to keep learning. So you can fail, but also you have to reflect back on the failure. You reflect back on the mistake. It's going to teach you something. And I believe Kamal or Nomsa or even me, when we look back at everything we have done wrong, now we feel grateful. Oh, I'm grateful that that thing didn't work for me, or I did that mistake. Sometimes mistakes teach you more than the things that go right for you. So
that's absolutely true.
They always say you always can connect the dots when you look backward, not forward. Look at everything happened in your life. Look at the mistakes. Look at the breakups, for example. If I didn't break up with that person, I wouldn't know what are my expectations. I wouldn't lower my standards. So, as you said, Kamal, it's part of the journey and part of the things you are doing. So you have to keep going.
I love that analogy that you used about the heartbeat. That the heartbeat goes up and down, and then when it stagnates, you're dead. And I think that's the perfect answer to Nomsa's question, where how can the challenges make us better? Well, do you want to stagnate and die, or do you want to have that heartbeat? I love that analogy. It was perfect, spot on.
Thank you, Kamal.
I actually, when was it? I think 2 weeks ago, or no, for the past few months actually, when Des created and his team, they created a YouTube channel. So on social media, I think I've got almost 60K when I put all together my following with the Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So I went and asked halfway. I think I spent so much hours asking for a few days asking people to subscribe, and people are not replying. And I was like, wow, I spend so much time and asking people to actually subscribe, and people are not subscribing. So then I started looking at myself, and I was like, when someone sent me a message saying, Nomsa, can you do this, or can you like my page? If I don't do it straight away, that means I forget. That doesn't mean I don't want to do it. I forget all about it. But if I see a message, I have to respond it straight away. And so and then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to forget about all this sitting in front of the computer, wasting my time. And I started doing some research online. I didn't see it as a failure. I started doing some research online. And I see a comment and someone says, basically, it was when it comes to social media, you want to go up, you're going to have to pay. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have to take my credit card out and hire a company and give me traffic on YouTube. Because guess what? The minute I did it, I had about, how many people have, I think I had 30 of you speakers, managed to get 30 speakers on WhatsApp to subscribe, and then managed to get few on Facebook with the close family and friends that made it 70, and the rest, the minute I paid somebody to actually drive the traffic and I could see the numbers are going up, and I was like, so I messaged them and I was like, is this how it works on social media? And they're like, how long did it take you to recognize that? So I was like, oh my god, but I would have easily saw it as a failure, but now I'm learning. And Kamal as well, when you were talking about on social media about that, your advert about your event, and you mentioned something, it was you who made me realize when you said you paid for your ads, paid for your event,
Right.
to advert.
I don't pay for it. It's just I promote it a little bit more. That's all.
Yeah, you just said you promote it a little bit more. So I was like, yes, I think I need to spend time. And then I started checking, Googling, and doing some research and linking everything together. And everyone is saying you have to promote it. You have to do this. And I was like, actually, I'm going to have to take my card and promote this. I can't do this by hand. This is exhausting. And at the minute I start paying and everyone is start replying, I've subscribed. I was like,
It works sometimes like that, obviously, but with the more, I mean, with these times, having a wide network, having a way of connecting with people is a little bit different. But when you promote a little bit, I'm not going to go into the marketing or advertisement about it. It's just to, it's like, for instance, we're talking about that event, right? It's a live event, it's free, and there's no sales pitch. It's just to help people out, right? It's like,
yeah,
you've been there, and what I'm only doing is that I just want people to come and find answers for themselves. I'm not looking into having them hire me. If they want, great, excellent. If they don't want, I'm offering a free coaching hour and a half of questions that they might have. Instead of going through a whole hour of like we do every day, they will have a condensed question and answer. And all I'm trying to do, like you are, like Muhammad is, like we all are as a team, we're trying to help people, which we want them to get out of that stuck state. We want them to find the tools so that they get over that hurdle, that bump, so that they continue on living on, right? So promoting it, it's not like I'm buying traffic. It's not like I'm buying people to come and like my pages, because I'm not doing that. It's just spreading out a little bit more. And what it actually is, when people like the events, then I say, okay, I invite them. They come, they don't come. They like the page, they don't like it, it's up to them. But there is no that forced feeling or that it's not organic, because it's still in a sense organic. So that's exactly what you're doing. And that is also a part of, you see, getting over those hurdles or these failures, like you called it. It wasn't a failure that you didn't manage. It's just, it didn't work that way. Maybe it would work for something else.
Exactly. And that's
right?
that's the good thing, Nomsad. And this is what we want to do. When I am facing a hurdle or a challenge, or for example, I want my network to grow, but it's not growing. So maybe that's telling me that maybe the things I'm doing are not complete or are not effective. So the good thing that you did is you started to search, you started to talk to people, you started reaching out to your audience. Instead of saying, oh, the content I'm providing is bad, the people I have, the team with me is bad, so it's not going to work. But what
it was him who made me realize I need to do something different.
Exactly. So it's good that you try to adjust and pivot and do the research. It's okay to not know everything. It's okay, for example, you're talking about marketing or anything. It's okay to not to know about digital marketing or how can I get an audience. So what you have to do is to do the research, ask people who have the experience, reach out to people. So that's something good you did, instead of saying, oh, it's not going to work, so let me stop. You didn't stop. You had a space bump, let's say speed bump in front of you. You jumped over the speed bump by doing the research and reaching out to people. And that's what we are talking about here. I don't want to stop when I am failing or if I make a mistake. And instead, I want to find another ways to stand up again and continue. And this is what you did, Nomsa. So let's say congrats on that also.
So, how can you use failure to your benefit, Mohammed? Whoever wants to answer.
Okay. This is an interesting one, and I want also to hear Kamal's opinion on this. How can I use failure for my benefit? I can use failure for my benefit in different ways. I think number one is to reflect back on failure, because we always say learn from your failure or learn from your mistakes. But how can you learn if you don't reflect? So what you have to do is reflect back on everything happened for you, your situation, the event that happened to you, and go deeper and deeper. Why did it happen? What is this teaching me? What did I do wrong? How can I improve? How can I change? Who can help me again? And what are the different ways I can do? So reflect back on the thing that happened to you and use it as a tool for you to learn. As I said, I always say making mistakes or failing, whatever you want to call it, is a learning mechanism for you. Okay, I failed once, so what did I do wrong? Let me try again. Let me search, as you did, Nomsa. Let me search different technique, different strategy. So it can help you in a way that it will highlight your weaknesses and the things that you have done wrong, and it can direct you in another way. So let's say sometimes failure, let's say failure is a rejection, for example. Sometimes they say rejection is redirection. So when I fail or if I make a mistake, it's just redirecting me in another way. So it's telling me this is not working. Try to find something else. Try to find another way to do it. So you can use it to your benefit when you actually learn the lesson. So, and also learning the lesson is not enough. Applying the lesson is what is the most important thing. I can learn something, but if I don't apply it, it's useless. So failure is learning the lesson, but success is applying the lesson that you learn from failure. So learn the mistake you have done, learn your lesson, but make sure to apply it. Otherwise, it's just a useless thing that you have here. If you, as we say, knowledge is power when applied. So if I have the knowledge, but if I don't apply it, it's not going to give me anything. The same thing, I have the lesson I learned from my mistakes. But what is the missing part is I have to apply it now. Because if I make the mistake, if I do the same thing again, I will get the same results. So you have to change, you have to pivot. This is I think this is what I'm trying to say. And I'm interested to listen to Kamal also. I want to see his opinion.
I'm absolutely agreeing with you on that part of the benefit, because I'll give it from a martial art perspective. Like, a few people know that I'm a karate teacher, right? And I have our dojo here. And there's a reason behind we have what we call mokuso, or a meditation, before the training and after the training, at the end of the training. The one before the training is to let go of everything that connects you to the world, to let go of everything so that you can start your training with an empty mind, that you can learn things new. And you tell yourself, in a sense, today is a new day. Today I will learn something new. Even if you're repeating the same things, you're going to learn something new, right? Now, at the end of the training, you've done good things or correct movements, techniques, and you've done techniques that needed correction, that needed redirection. And in that sense, that's why we have that second meditation, so that you go through the whole training that you've had. Remember what you've done right. Remember what you've done incorrectly and how you corrected it. You play it imaginarily in your mind. You see how the correction feels and how you can imagine yourself doing that movement or that technique in the correct way as it was instructed to you, so that it sticks in your mind, so that next time when you come, you can apply it. And then you come the next time, 2 days later, you have the meditation in the morning, or like before the session, right? And you go like, oh wait, I'm emptying my mind. Last training, I had to practice this in my head. Now I'm going to practice it before I start, so that when I start, I know the correct technique. And the same thing applies with our whole life. Like Muhammad was saying, getting into a relationship that you could consider a failed marriage, a failed relationship, people label them as failed. But are they really a failed relationship or a failed marriage? No, they're not. You have learned something. Of course, in the beginning, you are distraught, you are lost, you don't know what it is, especially if you're the one that's being dumped, right? You don't know where to go. You don't have any sense. And that just doesn't apply only to relationships, but anything else, right? Rejection, for instance, in sales, redirection. I love that. There's another word that I learned from somebody that I know. He said, a no is not a no. A no means next opportunity, right? And that's the same thing when it comes to these failed marriages or failed relationship. It's just a no, next opportunity. There's an opportunity for you to learn what went wrong, how it went wrong, what you did from your perspective, not what they did or what they didn't do. It's for you to learn about yourself and even what you want in a relationship and the person. Why did you lower your standards to having that person in your life? So now next time you learn to apply, you know what? No, I'm not going to lower my standards for anybody. These are my standards. They're up here. You either meet them or you don't. And that doesn't even apply only to intimate relationships. It applies to friendships and acquaintances and the people that you want to hang around with, right? And that's exactly how you were explaining, Muhammad. It's if you have that knowledge and you don't use it to learn, it's a waste of your bloody hard drive. It's like you're wasting space there, right?
Yes.
So I'm totally on board with you there. It's very important to apply these learning events in our life. They're there for a reason. I think I'm not sure, was it Einstein that said insanity is doing the same mistake on and on and on and expecting
yes. Yes, it's the same thing. You can't do something 100 times and expect a different result. You will get the same thing.
Right.
So that's why we are saying learn and try to change, try to do the research and try another way. For example, in my life, I never failed in, let's say, in my academic journey. I never failed until I joined the first year in university. I failed once. As you said, Kamal, in the beginning, sometimes you start to see yourself as the victim and you start to blame everyone else. But let's say after a while of time, you will start to process things. You will say, oh, wait a minute, I did some mistakes. I didn't study well, or I didn't review my notebooks, or I didn't solve some examples. So there was a part of this failure or mistake was mine. So as you said, Kamal, so now I have to learn. When I repeated the subject, I can't do the same thing and expect to pass. It's not going to work. It's not going to happen. So what I had to do, I had to study more. I had to search more. I had to read more resources in order to pass the subject or to pass the event I'm having. It's the same thing. As you said, Einstein, I remember he said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, which is not going to happen.
That is so true. I actually agree with both of you, actually, when it comes to and the I've had a relationship lesson, I've had the exams lesson for me overstudying. So I know what does it mean when someone says don't overstudy. I know that stay away from the books, learn what you need to know. So now when I'm learning, I have a module that I'm doing. So when I'm learning, I just learn the things that I need to know and I do some research and I memorize it. I know that this is what I need to do. I don't go over. Also with the past relationships, like what Kamal is saying, you have to actually look at yourself within and say, why did this relationship go wrong? If you just look at yourself instead of blaming. So it's very, very important to look within and improve. And if you look at me, the person that dated me 11 years ago, 14 years ago, I feel sorry for them, honestly. But if you look at the norms now, it's different. I've grown. I have an understanding what relationship is about, what is required in that relationship. And I apply the principles that I'm learning. Every time that I learn something, I apply it in my relationship. But before that, I was the queen. I was this girl that I'm a daddy's girl. You're not gonna treat me like this. You're gonna have to play by my rules. I don't get told off. I was a drama queen. I wouldn't fight anyone, but I was a drama queen, and I wouldn't. The thing that I basically, as a child growing up, I wouldn't talk back or I wouldn't fight. So I wouldn't fight in relationships, but I would expect a man to treat me like a queen. And now I know that it exists, but it doesn't exist. If a man treats me like a queen, I have to treat him like a king as well. It works both sides. But to me, 11 years ago, it was one-sided, baby. You come to my life, you're gonna have to do first class all the way and look after me. You are a man, you have to know. But now, who is dating me is freedom. He has freedom. So I agree with you guys. I don't know. I like to hear Kamal. Please explain to me the Kamal that was there 15 years ago.
Oh, wow. 15 years ago. Okay, so wait a second. How old am I? Well, usually I say I'm 18 because I'm only 18 in my head. 15 years ago, I was in Dubai, I think. I've been here 9 years. And I was living in Dubai. I was working for Emirates Airways and traveling the world, enjoying my time, seeing people from all over the world. I was still very much the same person. My values were mine. They're very similar to what they are today. They have almost always been the same. Very interested in helping people and being around people and teaching, obviously, people and coaching them, whatever it was that I could do. I was still partially introverted. So working with Emirates Airways and traveling the world and meeting more people was a very good step for me because it opened up a different world. And yet I still love the spotlight. I used to tell jokes all the time and make fun of people and imitate accents and people. But I was also I didn't know that I was an empath. So I was very much affected by the company of people where I had to recluse myself and stay home to get away from people. I had to stay like, I need air to breathe. I need to be away from people. So it was a very interesting perspective. As a person that used to date, I was very similar to who I am today. I'm not going to brag about myself. I'm going to say the things that were not correct. I was too, perhaps, kind and gentle with and giving with the words to the women around the world because I was you're beautiful, you're gorgeous, you're lovely, you're still lovely, you know. I enjoy giving compliments to women no matter who they are, right? Even if I don't know them, I enjoy doing that. And obviously when you're in a relationship, you can't really do that. You have to be a little bit perceptive of how you're giving these comments, and I wasn't very perceptive of that. I'm still a little bit oblivious, but I'm maintaining myself. The difference between back then is that I would comment on any picture of a friend of mine. Now I don't do it because I have a different understanding about it, right? And so that was one of the traits that I had about myself. I was perhaps a little bit also very, what's the word? I was a little bit self-conscious and not confident enough. As much as it would seem that I was very arrogant and very outgoing, I lacked that self-confidence in myself. And that, of course, affects relationships, right? It makes you say, okay, well, maybe I need to go and flirt with this one. Maybe I need to do this. And I never cheated, but there was always flirting around, which is still considered cheating, in my opinion, now, right? So yeah, that's the difference of 15 years of experience and a world. That doesn't mean that when I'm talking about looking into yourself and understanding why a relationship didn't work out, to see what you've done wrong, it doesn't mean that the other person is not, I'm not going to insult, but is a person that shouldn't be around human beings, basically. Shouldn't be in a relationship, right? It's best to look at what you can figure out about yourself, to know your limits, to know where you can allow people to step into that comfort zone, where you will not allow anybody to step on your toes, where you, well, like I said, you lowered your standards, or where you have heightened your standards for no reason. When I'm talking about standards, I mean very specifically your core values, because your core values are very important. And if you don't have very similar core values, the relationship is bound to fail. There is no outcome from that. Like, it is bound for a crash. I'm not going to say fail, but it's bound for a crash. If you don't both believe that, no, we have to educate our children in a, I don't know, like the Japanese, for instance, right? One says, no, we have to educate them like I don't know, say a hippie, right? I've got nothing against hippies. My mom is kind of a hippie as well, so and I love that about her. But there's going to be a clash, and that clash will result in an outcome that you don't want. So you have to be aligned with these values. I mean, you're a relationship expert and coach, right? These are things that you shouldn't be asking me that, because you know better than me about that. But that's what I see when I'm talking about relationships, when I'm talking to single parents that have been separated or divorced, right? And that's my perception on that. And that's who I was 15 years ago compared to today.
Thank you so much. I'm asking because I'm curious, Kamal. I learn from people, I'm a very nosy person. People don't know how I learn. I learn from asking questions. I'm a very curious person. So what about you, Mohammed? Mohammed is a baby. I think...
don't ask me about 15 years ago, because I was 6 or 7 years. So.
Yeah, but, Mohammed, let's say 2 years ago.
Okay.
Towards your parents, or yes, towards or maybe dating, when it comes to relationship, okay, before you became a coach. Come on, let it all out.
Okay, at least I revealed my age. I didn't say I'm 18. So Kamal tried to hide it, but it's okay.
No, I don't have anything against hiding. Like, I'm 39, by the book, I'm 39, but in my head, I'm 18, man, and in my body, I'm 18. People see me around, I'm a child. So
okay, that's a good thing, and it's always good to have a funny soul and be outgoing and not to be too serious also. So that's very good. If I would look back 2 years or 3 years ago, I was completely a different person. I was lost, to be honest. I was confused. I suffered from depression. I had some thoughts, and I sought help. And I was trying to try different things to see what is the things that I like, what are the things that resonate with me. And I tried many things. I didn't connect with them. I didn't like them. So part of that was adjusting and searching for the things that I truly care about, the things that lighten me up, the things that make me or give me enthusiasm, fire me up. So amidst the process of trying new things, tasting new things, I found coaching, and I didn't find it directly. Someone highlighted that for me. He said that you like talking to people, you like asking questions, you like to get to know people, and every day, whoever you meet, you try to ask deep questions, you try to understand them, the space they are coming from. And then I was introduced to the idea of coaching, and particularly life coaching, because it's something I'm interested in. And one of the things I used to do since I was 10 years or 11 years, I used to read a lot about self-development, leadership, and many of my books that I read were about failure and making mistakes and success, but it didn't cross my mind that these are the things that I'm interested in, to help people find the success they want, to find their own success, because each one of us has a different definition of success. So I was completely a different person. If you saw me 3 years or 2 years ago, you will, I'm not going to tell you I'm a life coach or anything because I didn't start anything. But eventually I learned, eventually I met people, I had good opportunities. I connected with amazing and inspiring people like you, Nomsa, and Kamal, and the team we have. And all of this is part of searching and trying new things. I felt bad, I felt awful, I felt disappointed, I felt empty, but I try to change. And they always say, if you don't like something, change it because you are not a tree. So you can change it. You can go here and there. You can change. Sometimes you can reach a destination taking different ways. It's not only one route or one way. You can try different things. So it's a trying different things. And if also we speak about relationships, let's say dating, as Kamal said, sometimes also I dated some people, but I didn't get treated well, or I found out that I lowered my standards just to stay with that person. But after breaking up, I was like, wait a minute, that person was draining my energy, was toxic for me. So I'm not going to accept this certain type of behavior or emotions they are bringing to me. I have to change. I have to find what do I like, what do I dislike, and what do I want to offer also. Because as you said, Nomsa, you can ask for something, but at the same time, you don't offer it. So if I want to be treated with respect, for example, I have to give respect. If I want someone to meet my expectations, I have to be aware of their expectations and try to meet them. If I want someone who's good communicator, I have to be the same thing. I can't ask for something that I don't bring to the table. And if I don't have it, if I'm asking someone to be a great communicator and I know I'm not, then I have to do the work myself as well. So it's it's part of these things. When I broke up, or someone, for example, treated me bad as a friend, or let's say someone I dated, I know that these are the things that I don't tolerate. These are the things that I don't want to experience anymore. So now in my future relationships, in my future friendships, if in my relationship with my co-workers, with my colleagues, I know I have to accept this thing and I have to not accept this thing. This is what I want in my life. This is what I don't want. So now I know what I really want. And this, I always say, clarity can manifest things in your life. Because when I am clear on something and when it shows up, I can grab the opportunity. So I know these are my expectations. If I meet someone that has these expectations and requirements, I can know this is the person that have maybe could be the potential person I'm interested in. But if I'm not clear about my expectations, about my standards, I'm not going to know which person I'm going to end up with, because I would be just like a monkey jumping from one branch to another, knowing nothing. So failing in a relationship, failing in an exam, getting fired, for example, losing your job, losing a loved one, it's all something that can teach you. But I know it's painful. When you break up, when you lose a job or something, it's painful. And no matter what I say, I'm not going to experience the same level of pain as you, because you are the one who's going through this. But always they say also, Kamal, I believe when you're training or training others as well, you always hear no pain, no gain. So it's the same thing, the same principle you can apply to life. So if I don't experience pain and struggles in life, I'm not going to gain anything. And it's the same thing, let me go back to the analogy of the heartbeats, they go up and down. Meaning, okay, when it goes up and down, I'm still alive. Once it's a straight line, you are dead. The same thing here. So you learn a lot from mistakes. And Steve Jobs once said, you only can connect the dots when you look backward. Because lots of things happen to you. At that moment, you said, it's bad, I'm not going to learn anything. But if you reflect after 1 month, 1 year, you will say, oh my God, that was a turning point for me. That was something that changed my life. And if that thing didn't happen, I'm not going to be where I am today. So at the end, I think we have to be grateful. I believe, I'm not think, I believe we have to be grateful for all the mistakes, for all the things that happened, for the breakup you had, For someone who fired you, you have to be grateful. And everything is teaching you a lesson. So you have to be aware and learn and apply the lesson as well.
That is so true, Mohammed. Basically, that's what I believe in. The energy that I give to people, I have to, if I'm expecting people to respect me or to love me, I have to give that love back. I was talking to my father-in-law, has not been well, so I went to see him over the weekend, and he wasn't too good. He didn't sleep, he wasn't eating. So I was like, we're going to our house. So we come here, and then his son is like, why is he here? He's got a home. And I was like, he's your dad, so you can deal with him. Just go quiet. And I was like, when it comes to family, me, I don't question anything. If family needs help, I'm there. So you're going to have to put up with me. So I was like, he's going to have to stay here. He's not coping at the moment. Until I get a doctor, that's when I release him. So and everyone are looking at each other, and they're like, okay, we're going to shut up. So he's not eating. So I forced him to eat on Saturday. So I forced him to eat on Sunday. So and then Monday he went home, he got hold of the doctor, and he went home because he was going to get help. So he calls me yesterday. He goes, oh, because I've been over to you over the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and you were forcing me to eat. So I realized that I think I need to eat for me to feel better, even if I don't feel like it. So I've done that. I've been eating. I feel much better, actually. So then he came here yesterday. He was looking at completely different. And I was like, what's changed? He says, I've been doing what you were doing, asking me to eat, even if I don't feel like it. I've just been making food a tiny bit, like every now and then I just eat and drink, even if I don't feel like it, and I feel much better. And it was like, I slept as well. And I was like, wow, thank God for that. And that's what I do as well. That's what I do. I just and this my in-laws now, they just shush, they just go shush. If anyone needs help, I don't look and say this one is gonna act first. I'm the first person to act, because I know that this is how I was raised. And he was feeling much better. So that's what happens with the relationships. You have to bring the energy, even with work and everything that you do in life. You bring a good energy to people, you receive that energy. Even when you fail, celebrate it. Just enjoy it, celebrate that failure. Who says there is no failure? It's a learning. I'm learning. I just look back and I'm like, I learned this, and I'm meeting you guys, I'm with you guys. I'm just learning. It's amazing how much you can learn. So over to you, Kamal. We're running out of time. Any words of encouragement that you want to leave to with our audience, please?
Definitely. Considering it's International Women's Month, it was the day of you last week, but it's still the month of women for me, because there's the International Women's Day. There's also, it's the beginning of spring, and in Egypt, or ancient Egypt, it's still Mother's Day this month. So I will leave people that are watching with a quote from a very interesting and famous woman that the women will love, from Coco Chanel. And she said, success is most often achieved by those who don't know that failure is inevitable. Right? So, words of wisdom to keep. And remember, if you consider that failure, that it's inevitable, you will reach that success. Remember the acronym: FAIL, first attempt in learning. And you can have a first attempt in learning every single time. Just don't be insane and do the same thing.
That's a very true one. Yes.
Over to you, Mohammed. I hope the audience are listening to Kamal. Change things around. Don't get obsessed with the staying in one place. Exactly. Over to you, Mohammed, please.
If I will say something, and if you want to change your perspective about failure and making mistakes, try to look at anyone who made great things. Let's look at Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, whoever you take as your idol and role model. look at them and analyze everything they have done, you will definitely see lots of mistakes they have done, failure they made. Elon Musk, for example, how many times they tried to send rockets to the space, but they failed, they exploded. So everyone makes mistakes, everyone fails at some point in life. So always look at those you admire, those you love the most, those who achieved great things, and look back at their life, and you will understand that the mistakes they have done, the challenges they have faced, made them the people that they are today. So whenever you feel down, you feel low, or you feel disappointed, try to look back at those people who inspire you. And I believe that you will be fired up when you say that they made mistakes. They were faced with lots of challenges, but they kept going. So I believe that will give you fuel to keep going. And I think that's it. It's something easy you can do. Just search someone you like, someone you admire, and look at their life story, and you will find lots of things.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You basically in life, you don't need to be the best. Basically, I won a matchmaking of the year in the UK last week, and this week. So I won 2 titles. So the other guy last week, he goes, Nomsa, you are doing social media yourself, aren't you, on YouTube? I was like, yeah. And then he was like, we noticed that because anything that has been edited, you can tell, but anything that is real, you can tell as well. So we like your social media. You're completely bonkers, aren't you? I was like, no, I'm not. And he was like, you know what we like about your company is when you go to everything that you're doing, you can relate. It's all connected. It's real. Even the people when they speak, like you are saying, talking about Ngozi Talk Show, because last year I won the title again, and I wasn't on YouTube. So it was like, we can see now you're on YouTube. We were wondering what's gonna happen last year, because I'm competing with people who have been running for a very, very long time, but because I believe in myself. I make mistakes, and even with the design, Mohammed knows. I had no clue about the designs. I was doing the design myself when I took over the Ngozi Talk Show until Mohammed went, Nomsa, I'll do this for you. It never criticized me, just when I was like, hallelujah, you go ahead and take it and do it. So the guy was like, we can actually relate because you can see the development. There are some changes. You are growing, and we are growing with those changes. So it was like, you get the title. So, and I was like, oh, thank you. And then this week as well, another company, and they were like, we are giving you the title basically in the UK. There are some companies that you're doing the way you're doing. They're doing the same thing in matchmaking and the social media, but your social media is completely bonkers. I was like, thank you for being bonkers. So thank you guys. I've got 2 titles. So thank you so much, guys. And you guys are contributing. You have contributed for that. So I just want you guys to know that I do appreciate you very, very much, and trust in my bonkersness. Trust in Nomsa's bonkersness. In that bonkersness, it will take you. And I'm glad that I work with you guys, and you guys are bonkers too. So thank you so much for that. I feel very lucky with surrounded by 26 speakers, and you all have different personalities, and you all have contributed into my life. And I don't know where I'm taking you guys, so don't get excited. But I know I know that you're not gonna stay here. You're gonna go up. So watch the space. So thank you so much. For those who are watching, thank you so much, guys. And thank you for your support in Ngozi Talk Show. We are here Monday to Friday, at 1 p.m. UK time. So if you are watching the video, you love what you are watching, press the heart button and share some love with the other people. Live with grace, everyone, and God bless you. So Mohammed, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play the video just before we go out. At the end of the video, you need to say your part on the video. I
Okay.
did this yesterday with Nadia.
Welcome to Ngosti Talk Shows. Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Challenges we have had to overcome in 2020.
Find your own voice.
The world has become united by the unseen, knowing there are no guarantees for tomorrow.
Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Let the world hear your voice and be filled within.
For the day has come for you to be a great leader.
The time has come to break away from the pain, distraction, experience the unthinkable.
Bye, everyone. Mohammed, it's your turn, please.
Find your own voice.
Thank you so much. Live with grace, everyone.